hello. It's me, your favorite domestic terrorist. I'm just kidding. But, it's like, I don't know, there is some measure of truth to that now because in the eyes of the law, since I don't agree with or consent to the Great Reset, which is like the corporations and the governments like working together, Homeland Security would consider me with my star maps and my tarot cards and my oils and my crystals and talking to the plants and the animals and stuff like that, a terrorist. So, when I speak up and speak out, the cost of that becomes like, it's definitely like taking a risk to speak out against anything at this point. But, I've kind of, I've just been feeling and thinking about a couple of things, and I really just wanted to chat about stuff. So, on this channel, I have been talking about what I believe we could be about to see the implications of. And I am willing to take any and all risk associated with speaking up on this, because I believe it was Krishnamurti who said that it is no measure of health to be profoundly well adjusted to a profoundly sick society. And I believe that Krishnamurti was right. So, yeah. So I'm noticing that the cost of living is increasing on an exponential level, right? So it kind of seems like 2020 and 2021, the flood, a little bit of the hyperinflation and the resource squeeze, which is what I believe this is, was kind of held back, right? And now it's like, I don't know too much about markets, right? But it doesn't seem like they can hold it back anymore. So I believe that a lot of people are about to see what the actual implications of the word wealth transfer is, but for real. And I think we're only in the very beginning of that. I don't mean to be a doomer, but it just seems that a lot of people are not thinking with their brain. They have been feeling with their emotions and letting that like guide their perspective. And, I don't know. It's like when I get by myself, I'm like not even particularly emotional, So this message has been brought to you by my neurodivergency. Okay. So, yeah. So, I just want to take a second to talk about like some of the implications of that, right? Like gas, prices going to like $6, $7, $8 a gallon potentially by March and April. I didn't read this anywhere. I look forward to the day that my intuition is accepted as a source, because that is my source, even though that might be illegal today or something. But yeah, so I want to talk about what's happening in Canada and what's been happening in Australia and New Zealand and other Western countries, right? There's, very obviously a like attack on like Western civilization. This is not an opinionated conversation. I'm not going to get into my opinions on the trucker movement. I'm not going to get into my opinions on, Western culture and Western civilization. Like I personally have bones to pick with it, and I live here, so I care what happens to it. So yeah. So right now, the police and the military in Ottawa, like all police forces in Canada and the military is descending on Ottawa, which involves the brutalization of many different protesters and Canadian truckers, and the people who are protesting have had their bank accounts drained. That's already begun. And the sound cannon, like a microwave sound, like directed energy weapon type device, was recently brought out at a protest in Australia. They are using techniques of geofencing, which is a good term to look into and learn about, should you choose to. So, yeah. So I'm observing that, the media is definitely spinning this trucker situation, both in the States, in our observation of it, as the US comes up with their own trucker convoy. The origins of that do not feel like ground up. It feels very like, I don't trust the US convoy more than I didn't trust the Canada trucker convoy. We can have nuanced beliefs about this, y'all, like bring nuance back. So what I'm observing is that with some of this legislature that the US is putting into place, where technically, in the eyes of the law, if you do not agree with governments and institutions, because those are the same now, right? These are like in bed, like so deep in bed with each other, then you are considered a terrorist, which gives, the powers that be, or the powers that were, all kinds of authority to do certain things that in prior years they might not have normally done. So in 2020, from January until August or thereabouts, I had a series of very disturbing visions. Literally, I cried like the whole entire month of May, and I've never been the same. I definitely don't take them as fact, although, as things continue to kind of play out, not to mention how what I saw is very well documented on like the UN website and like all of this, right? It's not like I wasn't very researched on it, but when I had these visions, my spirit gave me a few directives, and those directives were no protests and no movements, despite the overwhelming impulse to fucking do something, at times, right? My spirit said no protests, no movements, and question, like split hairs basically over every movement. And I believe that I'm beginning to see like the reason for why that is. So, okay. So in the event that the US uses this trucker movement and what's going on with that to really cramp down on things like our rights and free speech and all of that, even more, oh, Casanova, my cat's being cute. So in the event that that the US uses this, whether it's engineered or whether it's, whatever you feel about it, it doesn't really matter. Like, even if you feel that the trucker movement is rooted in Nazism and white supremacy, here's the reason why you shouldn't applaud their, their destruction, be it in Canada or in the States. Because when they have these laws in place, suggesting that everyone who disagrees with government is a terrorist, then we're kind of in an open rule kingship type situation where basically they can drop the ball a little bit more on, the natural resource squeeze that, if you've been watching my channel for the last year and witnessed my sometimes painful evolution and development, you will see that I have been trying to talk about this, right? So if they're able to do this, then they could reasonably keep with the hyperinflation, keep with the cost of living skyrocketing and, continuing like sort of the mass surge of unemployment and all of the things that come along with what we're kind of looking down. Then when people riot or protest about things that really matter to everyone, like resources, like food riots, then that gives the police and the military, as well as Homeland Security and the governments, the right, technically, to, first of all, begin using methods of brutality that we have not yet seen. So one of the reasons that my spirit kind of indicated to me, or one of the ways that my spirit indicated to me, no protests and no movements, was because I legitimately saw people being killed, like out in the open. In Charlotte, in 2016, I saw someone die from a rubber bullet to the back of the head. And then I saw someone else being put away for it. And that is not right, no matter what someone believes. That is not okay. So this left-right horse and pony show is really like gonna fuck us up, like really, really gonna fuck us up, because I see people cheering on the arrests and the like deplatforming of people that they don't agree with and whatever else. And I get that, but what happens when en masse we don't agree with them? What we feel and what we say and what we speak on and what we give it like attention to, in a sense, gives consent or does not give consent to stuff and things. So I have been very vocal, no matter what happens to me from jump when I had my visions, because I do not give any ounce of a cell of any type of consent. I will use these tools that I've been presented with, like my phone, like my computer, to make a life for myself however I can, and to, try to raise awareness. But ultimately, it's about consent. And I think that right now in Canada, especially, there are a lot of people specifically under that like Liberal Party umbrella who are giving consent to, to further things that they could do at protests in the future. Protests around things that actually matter to everyone, and yeah, it's just really, really sad to observe and to witness, because I really from the bottom of my heart, just want everyone to be okay and to be happy and to be free from suffering and this enslavement, And yeah, I had this vision a few days ago of people who have been brushing me off for the last 2 years, asking me more about the Great Reset and like what it entails, due to the fact that it affects them financially in their own life. And, you know, I just don't hear, like, it's like, I feel that the price and the cost for, speaking out on this is like, I'm like doing my own little like risk benefit analysis, right? And I will never like give up my rituals and my practice, and I will never bend the knee to this regime. And I'm just trying to raise awareness, I guess, about the implications of some of the economy stuff, and also just like a last ditch effort to make sure that people are prepared for whatever. Yeah, because, once we're in it, we're really in it. And I don't think that a lot of people are going to realize it until it is too late. And, as much as I don't want to be a doomer, this whole thing has been like watching a car crash in slow motion, really slow motion. So yeah, I appreciate you if you've taken the time to watch this. If you feel it's important to share, that's your choice. I do not tolerate any trolls, so I will be deleting all troll comments and blocking all trolls, just because there's no reason for me to incur any of that. But yeah, so I hope that this finds you well. I hope that we're able to come together on reasonable solutions. Like, one of the things that I've considered is like private membership associations for businesses, such as, metaphysical stores, even like solopreneurships, and also, putting assets of all kinds into trusts. And I'm working on that now, and I might try to find somebody who can like talk to me about this. I'm probably going to make a BitChute channel. So stay tuned to that. And yeah, have a nice day. All right. Bye.